I'm Michael Corrigan with Multidimensional Education, MDed, and I want to share how we help those working in the education sector secure an evidence-based or research-based designation. Now, not so long ago, it would have seemed unheard of that programs and interventions providing assistance to schools or working with parents and kids within schools would need to document evidence of their efforts' impact through experimental research. The times have changed, however, and the science of education has started to catch up with the art of teaching. Today, quantitative documentation, statistical evidence of your efforts' effectiveness, is often a requirement for many schools to even have a chance to secure your services. As a result, many working within the education sector are realizing how important it is to be on the list of reviewed evidence-based programs managed by federal entities such as SAMHSA and What Works Clearinghouse, but also other respected efforts sponsored by professional communities, such as the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, CASEL. As one of our clients recently shared, by just becoming part of the programs reviewed by SAMHSA, approximately 1,000 more interested schools can now seriously consider securing their services. So what does it take to enter the ranks of evidence-based education according to today's standards? First of all, unlike the past few decades, it takes much more than some descriptive survey research on a couple schools or classrooms that only provides results showing descriptive percentages, ratios, or simple mean scores. Today's standards require the use of measures and assessments with existing statistical evidence supporting their reliability and validity. The days of creating grassroots, homegrown surveys or scales using a few random questions to ask students to answer yes or no or rate their experience with your efforts on a scale of 1 to 10 is no longer accepted as sound evidence. Additionally, the methodological approach you use must also be experimental in design, or at least quasi-experimental. You should have pre-tests and post-tests comprised of the same reliable and valid measures being administered to randomly selected or randomly assigned samples that can serve as control and experimental groups. Once you've collected enough data using sound methods and measures on an adequately sized representative sample, you then need to perform the appropriate statistical analysis. If you're measuring multiple variables and doing an analysis that compares the results between your control and experimental groups, then you need to use statistical software that allows you to perform a multivariate analysis, an analysis that incorporates multiple variables. Within this multivariate analysis, you must also be statistically controlling for variables that could put your results into question, such as socioeconomic status, ethnicity, parent involvement, and your pretest measurements. These variables are called covariates. A multivariate analysis is imperative because the analysis is strengthened when you consider, incorporate, and control for as many of the variables at play that you can and analyze them together. Why? Because if we only look at one variable individually, we could assume incorrectly that the difference between the control and experimental groups on a variable such as motivation to learn was due to receiving an intervention, when in reality, it only reflected the socioeconomic status differences between the two groups. And when multivariate analysis is completed and hopefully statistical significant results are identified, you must also create a comprehensive evaluation report that includes a literature review of peer-reviewed research supporting the focus and need of your efforts, a theory of change, further citing references that support how your system for sustainable change actually works, and a full description of your efforts' step-by-step processes, your manual, and your resources. Now, some organizations are lucky enough to have highly qualified in-house experts capable of performing all these required tasks to become evidence-based. But what do you think it looks like when the research supporting your efforts' legitimacy was collected, analyzed, and reported in-house by your own organization? This is why many recommend that an outside external evaluator can be utilized more effectively to provide a more non-biased perspective to the research efforts. The partners and staff at MDed have been providing such services to school districts, government agencies, nonprofits, and educational organizations for more than a decade. Our clients include the Office of Safe and Healthy Kids, Ohio Department of Education, West Virginia Department of Education, Hillsborough County Schools in Florida, Charlotte-Mecklenburg, Orange County Schools in California, San Diego Unified School District, Rachel's Challenge, School Connect, and Love and Logic. We have performed advisory roles for federal grant efforts and worked with evaluators across the country. And although many evaluators are dedicated to helping clients gather evidence, many do not possess enough knowledge, skills, or experience needed to successfully conduct large-scale evidence-based educational studies within the organizational and, shall we say, political realities of our educational system. The partners of MDed hold doctorates in psychology and educational leadership, and we've taught statistical analysis and research methodology at the graduate level. We have served as evaluators for more than a dozen large-scale studies funded through the federal government. We've helped many educators and organizations manage research efforts from start to finish, and we'd like to help you design a large enough but still affordable study capable of documenting how your efforts are evidence-based and can meet today's standards. For more information on MDed, check out our website. You'll also find that our online data system for collecting and analyzing data is one of the best in the business. If you'd like to learn more about how we approach many research efforts utilizing our multidimensional needs assessment, please visit our YouTube channel that shares an assortment of videos based upon our book published by Corwin Press. Basically, our approach at MDed is intended to measure as many variables as we can for you in hopes of finding good news you can celebrate and embrace. With the assessments we develop for your study, we will use process and summative assessments to cast a wide net measuring multiple dimensions of education. We take this approach so that your research success is not relying upon one short survey only measuring a few variables. If you're going to invest in a large research study, you might as well do it right and collaborate with evaluators who know how to effectively manage large-scale projects that can better ensure actually capturing the evidence you need. At MDed, our goal is always to provide our customers with solutions, not just statistics. And when you get a chance, please email us to set up a conference call to discuss how we might collaborate together in the near future. Thank you for your time.